a venture that promised to bring light into the heart of darkness, but instead unleashed a horror that would consume millions of lives, all for a substance we now use every single day. It is not the story of a nation, but of a private company, a corporate state owned by a single man. It is a story of unimaginable wealth built on a foundation of unimaginable suffering, and it holds a dark mirror to our own world, forcing us to ask what price we are willing to pay for the commodities that shape our lives. Europe is scrambling for Africa, carving up a continent with ink and rulers. In the center of this frenzy is one man, King Leopold II of Belgium. He is a monarch with a small country, but immense ambition. He watches as Great Britain and France build vast overseas empires, and he desires one for himself. He sets his sights on the vast, uncharted basin of the Congo River, an area 76 times the size of Belgium itself. At the Berlin Conference of 1884, Leopold masterfully convinces the world's powers to grant him this land, not as a colony of Belgium, but as his own personal property. He calls it the Congo Free State, and he promises to end the slave trade, build infrastructure, and bring civilization to its people. It was a lie. At first, the main resource was ivory, but soon, a global boom would change everything. The invention of the pneumatic tyre by John Boyd Dunlop created a ravenous, insatiable demand for rubber, and the Congo was filled with it. Wild rubber vines snaked through the jungle. This was Leopold's gold. His system was simple and brutal. The entire state was divided. One part was for private companies to exploit, and the largest part was Leopold's own domain. He issued decrees that all land and everything on it belonged to the state, which was to say, it belonged to him. The Congolese people were declared tenants on their own land. To pay their rent, they were forced to collect quotas of wild rubber. The Force Publique, Leopold's private army of mercenaries and conscripted Africans, was sent to enforce these quotas. It was impossibly high. To meet it, men had to abandon their farms, their families, and venture deep into the jungle for weeks at a time. Failure to meet the quota was met with unimaginable punishment. The Force Publique would take women and children hostage, starving them until the men brought back the required amount of rubber. If a village resisted, it was burned to the ground. If a man did not collect enough, his hand or foot was severed as proof that a bullet had not been wasted. The forests of the Congo echoed with the sounds of this terror. The rubber was collected, shipped to Antwerp, and sold for enormous profits. Leopold became one of the richest men in the world. He spent his fortune on palaces, monuments, and mistresses in Belgium, a world away from the source of his wealth. Missionaries and shipping agents began to whisper stories of the atrocities. A shipping clerk named Edmund D. Morel noticed that ships arriving from the Congo were filled with valuable rubber and ivory, but the ships returning carried only soldiers and guns. He knew this was not trade. This was slavery. He launched one of the first great human rights campaigns of the 20th century. Writers like Mark Twain and Arthur Conan Doyle joined the cause. Photographs of mutilated children and adults were smuggled out of the Congo, shocking the world. The pressure mounted. By 1908, King Leopold II was forced to cede his private kingdom to the Belgian state. His grand corporate venture was over. But for the people of the Congo, the tragedy was far from finished. An estimated 10 million people, perhaps half the population, had perished. It is a story about the global systems that allow for such exploitation. First, it shows how the language of ethics and humanitarianism can be used as a mask for ruthless corporate greed. We see this today when companies greenwash their destructive practices. Second, it reveals the danger of unaccountable power. Leopold's Congo was a state with no oversight, no judiciary, and no press freedom. It was a black box where profit was the only law. Finally, it reminds us that the products we consume can have a hidden human cost. The story of Congo rubber is a chilling reminder to always ask where our things come from and who might be paying the price. A nation rich in resources but impoverished by its history. The story of the devil's gold is a warning, a lesson written in blood and rubber that we must never forget. If you enjoy stories where finance and history collide to reveal the hidden mechanics of our world, subscribe. We are going even deeper next.